Hey guys, it is like 1:30 in the morning. I am very tired, so I'm going to try to get through this next one quickly, even though I have a decent amount of things that I want to say about it. Um, this movie that I watched tonight, man, is one that I've been recommended by so many people. I actually bought this when it first came out, and I'm finally getting around to watching it. That is It Follows. This is easily one of the better movies that I've seen in a couple of years. And I say that in absolute seriousness. It is a true horror movie, in my opinion, even though it's very different. It's supernatural, it's tense, there's no jump scares in it really. There are some scares in it that make you jump, but they're not jump scares. They're not specifically created. I can, you know what? I'm gonna get back to that. Let me go back a little bit. This was an indie film that came out last year. It was written and directed by David Robert Mitchell, who hasn't done a whole lot of other things. He's done some shorts and a couple of little indie things, but especially after the success of this, I expect and hope for some really good things from him. I like his style. I like his direction. I like his art direction, especially. One of the main things in this movie was it created an amazing sense of atmosphere. Between the way it was shot, he used a lot of wide-angle shots, and he used those to his advantage because it was important. Sorry. I feel that it was important to be able to get immersed in the story, to be able to use wide-angle shots, and I think that's why I did it. Because this is the movie that once you start to figure out what's going on, you are checking the entire screen. You are looking at every corner. You're looking way far in the background, and you want to be able to do that. So he does these beautiful wide-angle shots where you can see far into the background of what he's shooting. Even if it's blurry, it doesn't matter. And you're looking for stuff. You're constantly paying attention to what's going on screen because you're looking for it. And that's all it is. It's just it. It is following. In case you don't know, basic premise, this young girl has sex with her boyfriend, and her boyfriend then proceeds to tell her that something is going to be following her. He passed it on to her, and it's passed through sex. Yes, it's an obvious metaphor for STDs, but it's more than that. It's more of a metaphor of, I don't know, it's a metaphor of a lot of things. This movie really was chock full of metaphors, especially from teenagers. There's a lot of teenager-inspired and obviously metaphors that were written specifically for teenagers. Things like cutting, obviously, sex, dependency, addictions, things like that. They all play very, very, very subtle parts to this whole movie. Anyway, once she figures out what's going on, and as soon as he starts to tell her what is going on, you immediately get your first glimpse of this thing. And the thing is, this can take the form of anybody. It can take the form of family, friends, strangers. It doesn't matter. But only the person that it's following can see it. Her friends can't see it. We can see it, she can see it. That's it. And that's why you're paying attention to the movie so much, once you figure it out. That's why those wide-angle shots come into play, because you're constantly looking at what is going on. You know, the characters may be in the foreground, but you're looking in the background. You're like, is it there? Is it there? It's very reminiscent to me of like the original Halloween, uh, specifically the first two. I think they're the main ones that really play an aspect in that. Because those movies, especially after you get through the first watching of them, when you go back and rewatch them, you notice something important, and that's that Michael Myers is pretty much always there. Every shot, almost, especially the ones out like in the street, he's there. Even if you can't see him, he's there somewhere. That's one of the things why. That's one of the things that I love so much about that movie, and I think that's one of the reasons why I like this so much, is because it held that same aspect of. It's not jump scares. It's not gore. It's just tension, and unending tension at that. It's constantly ramping up. There's never a moment where you feel that the character is safe. It's always, when is it going to come up next? Where is she going to run next? What is she going to do next? And to me, that is brilliant. I love movies that build on a psychological aspect of tension and just slowly ramping things up and playing on fears, especially fears of the unknown, because we don't know what this is. They never tell us what it is. It's obviously something supernatural, but we don't know. And it's that fear of the unknown that makes it work so, that makes it such a powerful movie, and it makes such a powerful statement about a lot of things. The shots are beautiful. The cinematography is gorgeous. This is supposed to take place in Detroit. They go to a lot of bodies of water. There's some really beautiful shots, beautiful cinematography, and the music is just fantastic. It is very simple, and it's created by a band called Disaster Piece, who actually created the music for the movie, or for the video game Fez, which is a game that I never played, but I've seen played, and it looks like a really cool game. The music just works. It's simple yet filled with tension. There's a lot of electronic influence and strings, and because of that, it's able to build a tension slowly, that slowly ramps up. But the thing that I really liked is there's a lot of moments where that music isn't playing. There's a lot of moments of silence where it's just the characters on screen, not necessarily even doing anything or talking. Just these striking, beautiful visual shots with no sound, no narration, no anything, just silence. It really plays up on getting you in a place in your head where you're really relating to what's going on the screen. You really get pulled in, sucked into the environment that's being created, the tension that's being created, the atmosphere that's being created with this movie. It really pulls you in, and you're constantly on edge. I don't want to say that this was really a scary movie, but it's definitely a movie that keeps you on your toes. You're constantly on edge, wondering, where's it coming? What's going to happen? Is it going to show up out of nowhere? Almost as a jump scare, which, again, there was only one moment that I really felt was a jump scare, and it still worked. I don't like jump scares because most of the time they feel cheap. This one didn't feel cheap. It felt like it worked, but it was still there. And I don't even know what else to say about this movie. The ending is insane in a good way. And it's a very ambiguous movie. There's no real definition of what time this movie is supposed to take place in. It feels there's a lot of aspects of it that make it feel like it could be set in the 60s or the 70s or even the 80s. It definitely has a feel of 80s indie horror. Um, in a lot of ways, there's very much a slasher aspect feel to the movie because it that is following these people never runs, never really like chases you down. It just walks, and that's one of the important things is that if you see it coming, you have time to get away. If you could run and get into a car, because all it does is walk, but it doesn't stop. Again, very much like Michael Myers in that sense. I keep on relating this to Halloween, but it very much it to me it really had kind of that feel to it. Um, but then again, there's some parts in the movie where somebody's using a cell phone, somebody's using some weird electronic device. Um, so there's no real definition on when this movie is supposed to take place. It could be anything. There's some modern things, but then again, there's all the TVs are CRT TVs. Who nobody's really used CRT TVs for probably, gosh, at least 5-6 years. You know, all the cars. There's hardly any modern cars and things like that. It leaves it very open and ambiguous as to what time frame it takes place, and it works in that sense because they were definitely trying to create something that is timeless, and I think he very much succeeded. I think that this is a movie that's going to go down and be remembered as a classic. It definitely it definitely gained a big cult following. I remember when this came out in theaters first week or so, it really wasn't doing very well, but people started going to see it, and then it just blew up out of nowhere. As soon as people actually started to go see it and started talking about it, it started trending and it blew up. It became huge, especially for an indie movie. And I'm sure it's garnered a lot more sales, being out on Blu-ray. I think it's going to have a long life ahead of it. It's definitely going to go down as a classic of our time, of this time period. And it's honestly probably been one of the best horror movies to come out in a couple of years, in my opinion, because it's an unconventional horror film. It's a horror film, but in a lot of ways it isn't. And it is highly recommended. Don't even rent it or find it, just go buy it. I'm serious. I'm sure that it's not very much. I'm almost positive that it's gone down in price. I think it's like maybe $12 at Best Buy. Probably find it for cheaper than that on Blu-ray. Go buy this movie. Buy it, put it in, watch it. Turn the lights off when you're watching it. I'm dead serious. Watch it at night, turn the lights off. You want to be able to focus, pay attention to the screen. You want to see everything that's going on in this movie. And it will blow you away. I promise you that. Thanks for watching, guys.